Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья.
Good afternoon, good evening, dear friends, brothers and sisters. We're happy to see you today at the research workshop. Today is the first international workshop in 2024. 2024 has a particular meaning, and today we will do our best to research stanza 3, Sloka 10, which is unique actually. Why is it unique? We'll understand that after our presenters provide us with the material. Today, we have the presentations by Mr. Vladimir Yary, Madam Michelina, PhD in metaphysics and a member of Theosophical Society of California, USA. Then Sergei Frantsuzov, the Doctor of Science and History, PhD, Professor of St. Petersburg State University. Mr. Kolganov from Moscow, Russia, is also with us today. Thank you so much. 2024 has already grabbed its rights, and the period we've entered in is amazing. Amazing is the way we've penetrated it. 2024 is the year that's begun January. Today, the 27th of January, has all nidanas and rays corresponding with the main thought of today's sloka in a way that has particular meaning. We are in the space where every person with thoughts is in, and to fix the thought, to give a form to it, is the main task for the human being in every incarnation, probably. That is the way to study, to understand how to formulate the thought or the form. Of course, if we are talking about the higher and the lower, and the similarity given by Madame Blavatsky in the Secret Doctrine, first of all, we should understand that there is a system and the law. And if we know the law, it starts acting. We allow them to start moving forward. Every workshop has a particular value in it, as the thoughts formulated by different presenters and image of every slok by every participant has high importance. Every contribution is highly valuable. We are assimilating the thought. We are doing our best to get together with them and to give a different aspect, a new one. We are expanding our understanding. And as we say, often understanding of the secret doctrine is limitless. Every time we go through every sloka 3 or 4 times, and we are in a different quality in different aspects of it. As you know, this year we'd like to start it not from what we delegate. Let's concentrate, we're saying, let's make this intensity bring us to a different state. But we're already merged together with the thoughts, and we'll get something for our everyday life from it. We'd like to start this year in difference, in simplicity, and in lightness. When lightness and simplicity are there, they have no pressure, and they start revealing. So many questions are there arising in our workshops, online classes, and the participants say that there is a lot of material to study, and we see that it's quite exciting for us. But how can it help? And they are asking in revealing our own practice of life in our day. How can we apply this knowledge? That is the major question, actually. As soon as beauty and simplicity arise in acceptance and expression of this knowledge and understanding, then can we say that they are already applied in our everyday practice? In order to make this process easier, we should give the impetus and we should understand the correspondence. We should own the system of laws of the secret doctrine. It's revealed in the three fundamental notions of the secret doctrine and the higher planes, the higher thoughts, the higher energies cannot be pronounced, cannot be revealed. If they are in the matter, they are already with error. So we should purify our projections to understand this connection, to get closer to the higher. We should dissolve the lower. We should make the light penetrate our consciousness, become pure. That is why in every incarnation, every person is doing its best to get higher, to get more pure. As soon as we get, or as we are ready to get to the higher energies, then we have the united ether space. The fiery knowledge we have, given by Madame Blavatsky in Agni Yoga as well, have the quality of sheer and make the consciousness alive after stagnation. We want these workshops, therefore, to have the impetus to bring turbulence to our understanding after stagnation. It shouldn't be stagnant. It should become pure every day. Therefore, in the rhyme, we can say that we are together with this beating heart of the universe, as the universe changes every second, as well as the human person. That is the main correlation we have formed inside, the changes. And then the changes go with the thoughts, can be changed within the human being. It's changed and brings changes to the external factors. The external factors can be changed by the thought, therefore the concentration and intensity. That is what we should live through. As soon as we do it, everything will be easy. Then the difficult understanding of notions, of various correlations of the revealed and non-revealed plane, or purification of every consciousness becomes open, clear. This lightness will give us more impetus and velocity. Therefore, can we penetrate? So today's stanza that I think is about to be mentioned by every speaker in describing the space. There are so many thoughts formulating the internal and the external. There are so many notions we'll try to cover today. Let's start then. Thank you so much for connecting our foreign partners. Thank you. Today, Milena Rusinova and Alexandra Bobko are working with us as interpreters. So we'll try not only not to understand the external notions, but to also work internally to speak and to make the thought expressed in an uninterrupted character. So let's begin the 2024 from this program and the workshop. Please don't forget to write your questions in the question answer section. At the end of the seminar, we'll answer them. Of course, your questions can also arise as the speaker makes the presentation. Don't hesitate to put them in the box. In the end, we'll definitely answer. Thank you. So, wish you an easy way forward to become perfect, to get closer to the higher, and formulate it for ourselves. I propose to start the workshop, and I'm giving the floor to Mr. Vladimir Yary, head of School of Theosophy of Moscow, Russia. Good afternoon once again. Let's start from the thought of the day expressed by Madame Blavatsky that she gives for every day. That is the single thought we have for today, and we will use it as an opportunity to penetrate the essence of combinations and energies, constellations, rays, planets that have gathered in one essence. All the rays come together and penetrate the single. That is the way to contemplate the reality. For that, we have the following thought. If wisdom were to vanish suddenly from the universe, no one yet would suspect himself as a fool. That is the thought we have. It is clear, therefore, by the way the thought is expressed, that it means we have something to learn, because wisdom is the way to understand where we're stupid. Stupidity is our ignorance that is an impetus to move forward. With this thought, we will try to understand the combination of the group of nidanas for today, for the current moment of our existence. We have to notice, focusing on these combinations. The combination is the following. The era of Aquarius is symbolized by the constellation of Aquarius, and the god guiding this constellation is the blue monkey. The blue monkey is the symbol of beauty of thought. The element is air. It means the quality of thought that can move forward. So we have the beauty in today's thought and the current moment as we are in the common space. It gives us this sense of beauty with what we are able to have high thoughts, beautiful light thoughts. Of course, it will make it possible for us to subtleize our feelings, our sensations. So it gives us the fiery character defined by the quality of thought, the psychic energy. And the thought itself has transformation of the centers of the astral body of the human being. These centers should transmutate and make our understanding of reality more subtle. In this illusionary world, of course, the human person can operate different notions, and the era we're in is the era of the white dragon, the year of the blue dragon. And we can present it in a way of the spiral becoming more and more subtle, becoming thinner, That is the way for the thought to go through wisdom of the white dragon. The white color is the symbol of element ether. Actually, that is a condensate of wisdom that can only be revealed with the beauty of thought. That is the center we are in, synthetic one. Then we solidify our being on the foundation of beauty. The white dragon of wisdom, as submerged through the feeling of beauty, this beautiful thought, and this beautiful thought makes its being possible. The year is one more spiral, concentrating this required flow of the main ray of the era. That is the blue dragon. The blue dragon corresponds to the same element as the Aquarius era. It's the air. The ability to think, wisdom is present in this year. It means that in this year we have an opportunity provided by the year itself, by the dragon, the blue dragon, to give birth to the thinking ability and the particular quality of mind in ourselves. This ability for the mind to grab allows us to connect controversial energies, matter and spirit, positive and negative. Then, for the wise person, there is no good nor evil, neither black nor white. There is just the result of the black and white, of the good and evil, given by the synthetic quality and joyful life, to be revealed by the mind. The mind should be awakened, and it's possible through the synthesis and the impetus. The blue dragon, therefore, gives this impetus for the whole humanity and the planet Earth. It's just another aspect, concentrating this energy in the era, in this century, in the year, and then it comes to the month, and the month solidifies it, makes subjective objective. This element, having the nidana of the blue mouse, correlates with the same element of air. We know that the blue dragon, in its triangle of spirit, has the three foundations or points as well as the year. The blue dragon, the blue mouse, and the blue monkey are there. The blue monkey corresponds to the era of Aquarius, the hierophant of the whole constellation of Aquarius it is. It strengthens being of the dragon of the year. It's strengthened by the blue mouse and the blue monkey. They are in a group. They work together, combined. You all know that the triangle is the symbol of matter. The triangle is the symbol of matter, I repeat. Why am I saying that? It's as matter is expressed in objectiveness. Objectiveness is understandable for us today, but apart from matter, there is spirit. If we take this matter in a subjective way, and as it gives objectiveness, this triangle will give this objectiveness, but in its essence, it has the spirit of subjectiveness. There is subjectiveness in objectiveness. And the triangle is showing the high degree of purity of this synthesis of wisdom. We have clarity, bringing our understanding to the awakened consciousness. There is such an element there. An important combination is there. We shall accept it. We shall also have a particular image, make our understanding full of images, spiral, circle, concentration of spiral, becoming the ray, giving an opportunity for our spiritual consciousness to be awakened, with our consciousness being expressed with the blue mouse or the karmic law, because the mouse is motion of karma and blue means consciousness or thought. Then the consciousness operates in a particular category of thought as the picture of world in our mind focuses karma for us. We bring positive things, light things, easy things, our imagination to this world that is free of our samskaras. And how the teachers of humanity are saying the human person as a single unit is not able to create the form of thought.
Поэтому, в общем-то, и создаются такие группы.
It's possible. There are such groups
сочетаются и кармические,
that become
и по
combinations, both in a karmic way and a way to be born in one country. They are combined and they are able to construct the form of thought. Now we have this opportunity to bring them to life individually as we are in these energies. What's interesting for us is that the revelations arise in the human mind when the combinations of energies make it possible for the world picture to co-sound with this fire of space around us. Then the combination brings us to the point where the month gives us the opportunity to launch the wheel of our consciousness to create karma of bringing opportunity, which makes it possible for us to see the reality in the right manner.
Змея – это разум. Этот разум двойственен, так как человек...
There is the fiery snake, the red snake. It's the duality, as there are the higher and the lower manas in the human person. And one reflects another. One can get into illusion and the second one cannot. The lower manas is able to do that. And it becomes a kind of limited consciousness.
Определять ту или иную степень своих
It's
действий.
possible for the lower manas to come into illusion in this life, to make mistakes. But if its mind is calm, then the higher category of rationality makes it possible to perceive reality in the right way. the element of fire gives us the element of contemplation, this mystical worldview, in this mystic character of seeing. We have the beginning of seeing, not from the personal point, but from our individuality, from the common to the private, from the single, the plane of the single, to our own picture of the world.
So there will be both analogy and logics, both science and religion. They will be combined into the art of actions. And this is very important because it creates our culture of consciousness. So this is the week that we exist on. We are in the day of the white tiger. The white tiger, just as like the Nidana, symbolizes birth. And this birth considers the birth of the six in esoterics of the seven Gatya. These Gatyas, what do they tell us and how are they defined in the works? They exist in two groups. The first, the group of Deva, Asura, and immortal people. This is the most sublime characteristics that the being can be born in. So the tiger gives birth to the most sublime person and to immortal soul, and the lower soul is about personality, and it means that both mortal and immortal people, they exist in Kamaloka. This state of consciousness, this type of the state of consciousness, and it defines the place of birth. And if we take all of the combination of the spiral and the characteristics and features of Nidanas, it will lead to the opening, to the creation of birth, and we will have the opportunity, and taking into consideration Sephiros, the creating ray. So we will have the opportunity to give birth to more sublime Gatyas. So this is how I analyze the combination of Nidanas for today, and I would like to add one thing. One thing that associated with the Shloka of our today's seminar. This Shloka and Stanza, they tell us about the same thing. So that it all begins in the germ and leads to the creation of fabric. The lower one is fastened to its shadowy end, and so on. So this is the space woven from the ether. The sublime ether is Akasha, and the lower is its manifestation, its body. Thank you so much. Thank you for your revelations. It gave me the idea that Kalachakra gives us an opportunity to dwell into these secrets, and the simplicity exists there. So we have to upgrade our inner vision because we will be able to see more clearly. Thank you for your thoughts and ideas and everything that you have told it does exist in the Sloka that we're discussing today. We are waiting for the questions of our listeners, and we continue our seminar. Madam Michelina Foster, the floor is yours. Madam Foster, Doctor of Metaphysical Science, member of the Theosophical Society. You may start.
Thank you. Father-Mother spin a web whose upper end is fastened to spirit, Pushka, the light of the one darkness, and the lower one to matter, Prakti. It is the spirit's shadowy end, and this web is the universe, spun out of the two substances made one, which is Svabhavat. It is the simplicity of the one substance which we call darkness, through which flows the light of its desire. We call this substance darkness because of our ignorance. We cannot see it or see through it. We know not its density, and we are told it's a cool radiance, every aspect. This is the description of the mother. The ancient Western cosmonic myths state that there was first but a cold mist, which was the father, and the profound slime, which was the mother. The deeper we delve into this ancient teaching, the more pronounced to the mind of humanity is the dichotomy of mortal thinking in comparison to the mind of the universe. Humanity is not really ready to admit its lack of understanding and to patiently await instruction on how to proceed upon the upward path, resulting in comprehension. Usually pride and greed block its vision and hinder its expression and expansion. What we don't understand, we call darkness. And when once we obtain a glimmer of the simplicity of eternity, we immediately announce that our enlightened knowledge of all things past, present, and future. We read that Father-Mother spin a web, but we often conveniently dismiss the idea that we are part of this web and that this web connects us with all manifestation innately within itself. This web description is useful in that we have knowledge of an insect of earth, which has the ability to spin a web. The simple creature is a spider. The spider is but one creature, but there is a multitude of chemical and psychological changes occurring within its body to perform this act. One does not see these biological changes from the outside. However, the consciousness within the spider is aware of how to produce this result. In this Sloka 10, Father Light and Mother Substance know how to spin the universe from their interaction. We are told that this web connects spirit in its higher light to a denser version of itself in a more shadowy region, which we call matter. All things are born from this interweaving. There is no separation in infinity of all that lives and has its being, whether in active or latent states. The rootless root is one. There is no other. The understanding of this concept seems basically what the human units do not comprehend. This understanding is that potential which needs to grow within each entity. As we live in a time-controlled consciousness, it takes a period of growth toward maturity to become aware of this principle. One lifetime, one amazing realization or touch of enlightenment does not bring instantaneous mastery of knowledge of the eternal. It merely grants us another step along the path that it unfolds for us. The rootless root grows, as does a man or a woman. We are born and pass through the stages of infancy, toddler, childhood, teenage, young adult, maturity, and old age. The plant grows through all these stages, from seeds to roots to stems to leaves to flower. All things of which our level of consciousness is aware pass through these increments of growth, and it is of these stages, in their correspondence to the higher realms, that these stanzas and slokas have reference. In speaking of the two aspects of the one, the light is the same omnipresent spiritual ray, which enters and fecundates the divine egg. It produces the call to cosmic matter to begin its long series of differentiations. These manifest differently in various levels of the mother. Some begin as curds and become cosmic matter, as in the stars around us, which we are aware. This matter was, at its first awakening, the beginning of motion scattered through space. We are told that these are the seeds of the future worlds, the star stuff. As we read and study these slokas, let us keep in mind that we are not standing outside of these occurrences, but are part and parcel of them. We are each as a drop of conscious point of beingness in this ocean of radiant light. This ocean is fire, heat, and motion. But these attributes of the ocean are not the physical modifications which present themselves to us on the material plane. These are basically indescribable aspects of eternity itself in its manifesting cycle. We as students study these stanzas and hopefully expand our consciousness in awareness of cosmic unfoldment. It is always interesting to note that no matter at which stage humanity is manifesting, as a whole, it ever believes that that which is currently comprehending is the completion of all that is known concerning a subject. No matter what the subject, the Big Bang, the string theory, the theory of relativity, chemical compositions, planetary motions and alignments, oceanic currents, weather interpretations, or the life cycle of an earthworm. Mankind has an opinion on it with a predictability of finality attached to it. The universe, the cosmos, is completely indifferent to mankind's analysis of itself and continues on its own infinite cosmic path. There is no finality to be found in the motion of the cosmos, only change. In actuality, the cosmos is aligning the path which humanity will travel, just as a parent takes the child's hand when walking. Light and shadow are merely two ingredients used by the cosmos as our activity and latency to discover itself, to manifest its dream. It spins these together and creates the connective web from light and substance, forming the configurations in which humanity finds itself. These are said to be within the body of Brahma, the creator God himself. Brahma spreads himself across the universes, and the manifestation process begins from cosmic winds, whirlwinds, and heat-producing water. These are the curds of space, which slowly to our minds become planets and solar systems. This is more than just a process of evolution and evolvement. There are far greater forces and intelligences here than any human thought can comprehend. The seed cannot understand the outflow of energy which becomes its roots. Neither does it sense the formation of leaves, a form, a flower, nor the fragrance it will become. The man plant partakes of these same attributes. Light flows and explodes from the darkness in the formation of its geometric web, the essence of darkness being absolute light. As the sloka suggests, light we can visualize and darkness is merely that for which we have no concept, no words for in our ignorance. As this web attaches, all things connect into one compliant whole, from the highest to the lowest we can imagine. There is nothing outside the web, for all is contained within it. It manifests the entire universe. Matter is but spirit's shadowy self. This is truly a development of limitless subjectivity into as limitless objectivity, without reference to size, limitations, or area. This is a change of consciousness, a change of condition, as the ever to us invisible and immaterial substance present in eternity through its periodical shadow from its own plane into the lap of Maya. Here we see there is no greater or lesser, or smaller or grander, for all are equal within their own perfection in the web. The gears of a watch work together. The smaller cogs and gears precisely interact with the larger gears to correct syncopation of the flywheel. Time is measured correctly, and the outcome is its perfection. So it is with universal law. The great teachers have stated this balance of synchronization, this web of continuity and connection, as do unto others, as you would have them do unto you. They know the oneness of the web, the connectivity of every entity. And as Madame Blavatsky has stated, there is not one width of a finger of emptiness in space. Namaste.
Дорогая Мишелина, огромное спасибо вам.
Madam Michelina, thank you so much for your presentation. You know, anytime you are talking about ethics, this divine sublime thought, it seems to be the very dream that has to be realized. So you are doing it. And our idea is to manifest this thought. Thank you, dear Madam Michelina. Stay with us because we're getting more and more questions about your material. Thank you for joining us, for your poetic and detailed presentation of the Sloka 10. Thank you. And now, Sergei Frantsuzov, Doctor of Science in History, PhD, Associate Professor, Chief Researcher, Head of the Near and Middle East Department of the Institute of Oriental Manuscripts of. I would like to note that not every shloka contains such a detailed comment. This is not for nothing. The thing is that the comments that we may read from the text of stanza 3, sloka 10, this is the quintessence of the philosophical thought of the West and the East. I would like to start with something more familiar to all of us, namely Goethe's Faust, a work belonging not only to German but also to other national literatures of the European peoples and to the world literature in general. There are a good dozen of translations into Russian and other languages. At the end of her commentary, Blavatsky writes, "The same idea has been beautifully expressed by Goethe, who says, 'Thus at the roaring loom of time I ply, and weave for God the garment so seized him by.'" The quote is easily recognizable. It is the very beginning of the poem Faust. Its first part, the scene night, when at Faust's passionate call, the spirit of the earth's guide appears to him. Here is how these two lines look in the original, the text in German. This poetic value of the quotation has attracted the attention of many writers, including the Russian writers. Suffices to mention Fyodor Ivanovich Turchev, who included it in excerpts from Goethe's Faust. So the fateful fabric rustles on my figure, and God's living vesture is being woven. But this couplet, as well as the lines adjoining it, went beyond the limits of belles lettres, as clearly evidenced by its presence in the article on the development of the monistic view of history by Georgy Plekhanov. Here is the quote. On closer examination, it appears that life itself carries the germs of death, and that, in general, every phenomenon is contradictory in the sense that it develops from itself those elements which, sooner or later, will put an end to its existence, transform it into its own opposite. Everything flows, everything changes, and there is no force that can delay this constant flow, stop this eternal movement. There is no force that can resist the dialectic of the phenomena. Goethe personifies the dialectic of the image of the spirit. A quotation in German.
Ein gluchend Leben, so schaff ich am sausenden Webstuhl der Zeit und wirke der Gottheit lebendiges Kleid. При издании этой статьи, а нужно сказать, что она
When
впервые...
this article was published and it appeared in the year when there had been already the translation. So this person was a great French translator from German. In the storm of deeds, in the waves of existence, I rise, I sink, death and birth, the eternal sea, life and motion, in the eternal expanse, so on the loop of the transient ages, I weave the living garment of the gods. At a given moment, a moving body is at a given point, but at the same time, it is also outside it, because if it were only in it, it would, at least for that instant, become stationary. All movement is a dialectical process, a living contradiction. And since there is not a single phenomenon of nature, in explaining which we would not have to appeal to movement in the last count, we must agree with Hegel, who said that dialectics is the soul of all scientific cognition. Let us recall that Volume 1 of The Secret Doctrine was published in 1888. By the way, in the Russian translation of this fundamental work, this couplet, to all appearances, was translated by Roerich from English. In any case, in the Russian translations of Faust available on the web, it is not found in this version. Helena Roerich translated the most part of this article in Latvia, Riga. However, let us now turn to the English version of the couplet quoted in the original Secret Doctrine. Thus, at the roaring loom of time I ply, and we forgot the garment those seized him by. One might have hoped to find it in one of the most popular English translations of Faust, published by Bayard Taylor in 1870, but there is a markedly different text there. Thus at time's humming loom, 'tis my hand prepares the garment of life which the deity wears. At the same time, this is not a translation of Blavatsky herself, say from German, which she was fluent in. Thus, the same two lines as in The Secret Doctrine are found in the 1915 edition of Tagore's biography. Ernest Rhys, Tagore, a biographical study. Most importantly, in Thomas Carlyle's 1831 novel Sartor Resartus, The Life and Thoughts of Herr Teufelsdreck, which is a commentary on the thoughts and biography of the fictional German philosopher. It seems highly probable that Carlyle, who knew both the German language and the German culture very well, himself translated the couplet in question, the stylistic and semantic perfection of which experts pay tribute to. In particular, the use in it of the verb to ply, diligently pursue a craft, as the equivalent of the German word schaffen. Let us now turn to a quotation from the Upanishads. The Sanskrit word Upanishad is a verbal noun from Upanisad, which means to sit near. It is at the feet of the teacher, receiving instruction. First of all, it is an explanation, a teaching received by the disciple. Further, the secret, hidden meaning of the teaching is emphasized. The Upanishads constitute a section of the Vedic literature, which was classified on the one hand according to its belonging to one of the four Vedas. Veda means knowledge, here by meaning rather sacred knowledge. On the other hand, according to its character within each Veda, hymns, ritual, precepts, various kind of commentaries to them, comprising as it does the final part of the Vedas, the Upanishads were sometimes called the Vedanta. Blavatsky's reference to the Mandukya Upanishad is somewhat perplexing. Firstly, the small Upanishad, a little more than a page in the modern edition, has a binary division and not the ternary one given in the commentary. Secondly, there is not even a remote parallel to the text quoted by Helena Petrovna. However, in the English original of the Secret Doctrine, we read, in the Mundaka Upanishad, it is written, obviously, Blavatsky, in the final editing of her opus magnum, could not always check with the original text. One had to rely on memory, which Alice sometimes fails. It should be noted that the Sanskrit words Manduka and Mundaka are not homonyms, though the palatal n and d occur in both. The former means frog, the latter shaven. Both are nicknames of the founder of one school and representatives of the other. So the quotation from the Mundaka Upanishad is precisely that given in the commentary on Sloka and Stanza 3. In the modern Russian translation of the Upanishads made by the outstanding Russian Indologist Alexander Sirkin, born in 1930, who gained wide fame as the first translator of the Kama Sutra into Russian, this part appears as follows. The text in Russian. It is easy to see that there are minimal differences between these two versions of the Russian text. It remains to find the source of the English translation of this fragment of the Mundaka Upanishad given in The Secret Doctrine. As the spider throws and retracts its web, as herbs spring up in the ground, so is the universe derived from the undecaying one. One might assume that Blavatsky used this translation of Mundaka Upanishad published in 1884 by the great Indologist Max Müller, but she did not. Textual analysis refutes this hypothesis, for a similar meaning is conveyed there in quite different words. As the spider sends forth and draws in its thread, as plants grow on the earth, thus does everything arise here from the indestructible. It should be noted that Blavatsky was well acquainted with the indological heritage of Professor Max Müller, touching upon the question of the origin of the Hindu custom of sati, self-immolation of widows. In her work, From the Caves and Wilds of Hindustan, written in Russian, she noted that in his extensive essay, Comparative Mythology, the latter recognizing the priority of his colleague Horace Hayman Wilson, directly wrote about the falsification of the Rig Veda text and explained its essence in detail. Nevertheless, Helena Blavatsky herself apparently translated from Sanskrit into English a small fragment from the Mandaka Upanishad placed in the commentary to Sloka 10 of stanza 3 of The Secret Doctrine. In conclusion, I consider it necessary to note that despite the use of the term Svabhavat, which in Indian thought denotes the nature of things from the point of view of its naturalness and independence from external factors, the key idea of the shloka under consideration, the inseparable interrelation, or if you like, intertwining of spirit and matter, is inherent not only in Hinduism or Buddhism. It can be traced in the Abrahamic religions as well. Perhaps two examples will suffice. Blavatsky herself in section 6, The Dangers of Practical Magic of volume 3, not authenticated by the author of The Secret Doctrine, emphasizes that, according to Kabbalah, the created world is perceived as a garment of God. In Sufism, it is in Islamic mysticism, one of the central concepts is the doctrine of Wahad al-Wujud, oneness or unity of divine being, developed by the great sheikh, a native of Muslim Spain who spent most of his life in the Middle East. The mystic Ibn al-Arabi was posthumously honored in the Ottoman Empire. According to this doctrine, existence is the manifestation of a single divine essence in the infinite and ever-changing images of the material world. Thank you for your attention. Sergei Alexeyevich, thank you for your presentation. You know, you managed to dwell into this text and find many correspondences in its creative works and in its writings. They were already mentioned. So, and I was also touched by some of the concepts voiced by you during your speech about the life and death, so that they exist in a single phenomenon. And the great scientists and writers, they could say that, as you quoted, I weave the God's garment and I'm wearing them. It is very subtle and it reflects the concept of Sloka 10 in the term of Svabhavat. Your presentation and your works, they emphasize the shape of something that cannot be voiced. Thank you for your speech, for your presentation, and I believe that our listeners will re-listen to it. Some people asked their question concerning your presentation, and we will ask these questions later at the end of the seminar. Dear participants, thank you for writing your questions. It means that you are really interested in the seminar. It appears to be engaging. Dear friends, Sergei noted that it is not in every sloka that the comments by Blavatsky are as detailed as here. And I believe it gives us certain tension. Where should we move? What does it mean? However, every speaker were precise quoting this material. They managed to express their own ideas, and we are able to share them with everyone listening to the seminar. We make these concepts alive. We give birth to new ones. Thank you again. Thank you to all the speakers. Stanza 3, Sloka 10. The Father-Mother spins a fabric. The upper edge of it is attached to the spirit. The light of the one darkness, and the lower edge to the shadow edge, to matter. And this fabric is the universe, woven from two entities fused together, which is Svabhavat. In the ninth sloka, we outline the final conclusion that the place where the vortex will begin its movement is prepared. This place is a collection of consciousness so that it can resist it. I will say it again. This place is a collection of consciousness so that it can resist it. Therefore, in the sloka, the vortex begins. What kind of vortex? The key point from these brief commentaries, we understand the idea of Blavatsky. This vortex fills the fabric with an impulse, so the essence of the universe is created and it becomes woven or filled. So these pulses accelerating the rhythm of the ether and space it was done at the greatest speed so that the whole fabric got filled. This fabric is woven by father and mother fused together. If we look at planes of existence, we will see that the first three unmanifested planes of existence are connected by an arrow. Father and mother, they had to get connected to fuse into one and to become to weave fabric. What do we have in the planes of existence? The triangle, the two lines of the triangle, they seem to be weaving this fabric. They are like spokes. One of them is mother, the other is father. They are like knitting needles, so to say.
And this process, as it expands in the densest world, corresponds to the Sloka and Stanza we're dealing with. So there is a plane of spirit without matter of the three, then the plane of four, which is seven merged together as and the 10. And the 10 is movement of light or creation of the fabric. The higher edge of which is attached to the spirit, which corresponds to the higher ether, and the lower edge belongs to matter, which corresponds to the lower ether. According to the planes of being, we see these atoms of the fabric becoming solid according to the way the rays penetrate the solid plane till they become solid worlds. Either is the lowest of the 7 divisions of Akasha Pradana, or the primary matter, undifferentiated substance. Akasha is the same as Pradana. Akasha is the auric egg of the earth. Akasha is also Mahat. Mula Prakriti is the same as Akasha. It also has the 7 degrees. What is Mahat? Mahat is the positive aspect of Akasha, the manas of the cosmic body. Mahat in relation to Akasha is the same as manas in relation to body, and Pradana is just another name for Mula Prakriti, the identical name. Pradana, Pradana, and Mula Prakriti, The uric egg is akasha,
также имеет эти
which
7
also has 7 degrees. Being the abstract substance, it reflects an abstract ideas, but it also reflects lower concrete things. If there were no reflection of the higher abstract thought, there would never be a reflection of the lower abstract thought. It comes up that either occupies the lowest plane in the sevenfold division of Akasha Pradhana, the fiery primordial substance. What does Pradhana mean in Sanskrit? It's an adjective, meaning the most important, the principal, being just an abstract substance. It reflects abstract ideas, but also lower concrete things. In our concept, we can say what it reflects. Mahat is the higher, and manas, or alaya, no place, the higher concentration of energies which is not formed, and laya, the point, which is the beginning for all the movement. That is the way we can present it. If Mahat is the first reflection of Pradhana or Akasha, Mahat is the universal mind whose characteristic property is Buddhi. Without that characteristic property, the universal mind would not correlate its functions. It wouldn't even be. So Buddhi, symbolically wisdom of this light, and Upaya being the plate for that, it's the way the universal mind is reflected. Is nothing but logos, for he is called Ishvara, Brahma, Baba, and so on. He is also the creator. Who is the creator? Is the divine mind in creative activity, the cause of all things. He is the creator. He is the divine mind in creative activity, or the cause of all things. He is the firstborn, of whom the Puranas tell us that the earth and Mahat are the inner and the outer limits of the universe, or the earth is the form, and Mahat are combined inside and outside as limits of the universe. In our language, the negative and positive poles of a dualistic nature are there. Dualistic nature is abstract and concrete. In Mandukya Upanishada, it's written, and the speakers have mentioned today, that as a spider throws out and retracts its web, its herbs grow from the earth, so does the universe come from the indestructible Brahma. For the germ of unknown darkness is the material from which everything evolves and develops, like a spider's web, like foam from water, etc. In these ancient knowledge, we already have the greatest aspect of the connecting part, that the internal, not reflected outside, cannot exist. If there is something inside, it also tries to be reflected outside, expressed outside, in multiple forms, in multiple aspects. It will be expanded, and the way it will be expanded will depend on every creature, on the way Brahma has its multiplicity in it, in the way the human being can allow it to be put into its nature. It's figurative and true only if the term Brahma, or the creator, is derived from the root Bri, which means to increase, to spread, to create. Here is the point. The human being should reveal Brahma in itself. It should expand, spread in its creativity inside. Then the outer form will be so beautiful and clear that the reverse process will start. The outer form will concentrate as the image of the single, the image of the single in its multiplicity will connect to the single, and then the creator will become one with Brahmas on the ray. The key point is the following: Brahma spreads and becomes the universe, woven from its own essence. The same thought is beautifully expressed by Goethe. Spirit and matter are the two opposite edges of the same fabric: light and darkness, heat and cold, emptiness of space, and the fullest of all things are also opposites. Today, we'll not touch upon these material life and death,
В онлайн-классе, когда у нас будет
but in the online class, as we have more time, we'll definitely tell you about this greatest power of transformation of life into death, emptiness, heat to cold, etc., light to darkness. Of course, we also say that the opposite things come together as the high ether, the divine nature, the fifth and the sixth principles of the body of the cosmos, and Buddhimanas in the man. The high ether is the very beginning of differentiation, and the lower ether is differentiated matter. Here are the two poles. We know that ether will appear with the fifth root race and develop at the beginning of the fifth circle. Today we live in the circle in the fifth race. It's also only beginning its transformation for the human being to be transformed according to changes in the universe. So, the lower ether is a completely differentiated matter. The higher ether is only rudimentary differentiation of the matter. In other words, spirit becomes objective matter becomes subjective, when the spirit escapes our metaphysical senses. It happens when metaphysical senses disappear and come together. Why does the mind expand? Only by synthesis. Without synthesis, the mind will be motionless. It cannot develop, expand, spread, cannot even comprise. Synthesis or comprising of the opposite poles gives this power to escape metaphysical senses, to come to synthesis of our normal senses and metaphysical senses. That is the highest function of our mind, that the etheric space can weave as one maze or one sensation. The ether also correlates with the cosmos and our little earth, like Manas and the monad and the body. The lower ether or ether has nothing to do with the spirit, but has a direct relationship to subjective matter and our earth. The high ether or Akasha is the heavenly virgin and mother of all existence, or the existing forms from whose womb, upon fertilization by the divine spirit, matter and life force and action are called into being. How this ether is penetrated with? It's penetrated with the spirit. Ether is the aditi of the Hindus. It's also Akasha. Electricity, magnetism, heat, light, and chemical action are so little understood that the facts are constantly expanding the limits of our knowledge. Everything in the universe is associated with either spirit or matter, and one of them or both is perceived as a permanent element. Pure matter is pure spirit and cannot be comprehended, even if it's admitted by our limited mind. As Madame Blavatsky notes, neither light nor darkness, its optical effects, are matter, nor are they spirit, but they are qualities of the former. or matter. Here is the thought to take notion of. That first and only form of primal matter that our brain consciousness can comprehend as a circle, first carefully imprint within a circle in our mind, and then expanded gradually, step by step. Soon you will reach the stage when this circle, without ceasing to be a circle in our thoughts, will become infinite and boundless, even for our inner perception. This is actually the circle we call Brahma, the germ, the atom, or anu, or the latent atom, encompassing infinity and boundless eternity during pralaya, and an active atom during life's
Ни окружности, ни плана.
as neither circumference nor a plane, only an infinite extent. That is why a circle is the first geometric shape and symbol in the subjective world, and it becomes a triangle in the objective world, according to the planes of being. We should see that the circle combines the three non-reflected planes, and the triangle starts combining the two mediatory planes. Then it comes to the point when the plane of matter and formation begins, and the plane of mind and creativity is also there, with the seven-ray star. The triangle is the next shape after the circle. The first shape, the circle with a dot, is not really a shape. It is just an initial germ, the first thing that can be imagined at the beginning of differentiation. Triangle must be represented as soon as this matter has passed the 0 point or layer. We've already mentioned that this correspondence of lie and a lie is when the matter has trespassed to this point or layer. Then Brahma is called an atom, because we have imagined him as mathematical point, which, however, expands to the state of absoluteness. That is the divine germ. Let's not forget, not an atom of chemists. That is different category of thought in this concept. The first geometric form is the germ, then the matter is just past the 0 point or layer. Brahma is a point expanding to the scale of absoluteness. Then Brahma is the creator. It spreads and becomes the universe woven from its essence, the spirit of Purusha, Svabhavat, Father-Mother, spins fabric, and matter is Prakriti. Here are the key actions, as we come to one key point mentioned in the Secret Doctrine, the universe woven from two entities fused together, which is Svabhavat. Let's consider this unique notion of Svabhavat that's been mentioned multiple times, but we'll consider it once again, though. Svabhava, in the Sanskrit, one's own nature, essence. In the Indian thought, it denotes the nature of things in terms of its naturalness and independence from external factors. As a philosophical principle, it was first mentioned in Upanishads. It's called the source of the universe along with necessity, chance, material primary elements, and time. Therefore, the essence of nature is unchangeable, and it's not by chance that it's there. It's not subject to chance. That's Svabhavat. In Mahabharata, the mechanism of Svabhava is indicated as the primary basis of the existence of all beings. In Bhagavad Gita, Svabhava is called the primary source of the gunas, the distribution of which led to the emergence of four varnas, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras.
Это был центральный элемент
So Svabhava was the central element for the doctrine of one's own nature, Svabhavat, with doctrine that gained a great influence at the early stage of the development of Indian philosophy and maintained in for many centuries. Today, it's called Indian naturalism. In Buddha Charita, Ashwat reports that the supporters of Svabhavat who held high positions as the court of princes
Чего? Ввиду бессмысленности попыток
because the
измерить.
futility of trying to change the natural source of events. What is the natural course of events? It's evolution. But even though it's impossible to change evolution, it changes inside. Inside, quality of evolution can be changed, and that is the distance. That is Svabhavat. Svabhavat is a plastic substance, a universal substance, or rather that stands behind it. It's not the substance, it's spirit and essence of substance. It's higher, much higher than the essence. It's above the non-form. That is why in the Indian thought, Svabhava denotes the nature of things in terms of its naturalness and independence from external factors.
Зависит от внешних факторов, потому что
It doesn't depend on external factors because it changes the internal quality. That's one of the key points that I'd like to draw your attention to in today's presentation of Svabhavat. Svabhavat is the mystical essence, as Madame Blavatsky is saying. It's numbers when it's manifested, the root of physical nature, and number when its substance is in a state of unity on the highest plane. If we have the seven components, worlds, atoms, or places that have already been rebuilt after Laya, then this one connecting the higher edge of our matter Purusha with the lower edge of Prakriti, it combines everything. The Buddhist term is equivalent to the quaternary anima mundi, the world of archetypes, of Kabbalah, the world of creation, doing, originate. But what's exciting, we can see that Svabhavat is the case, in its case is matter, thinking substance in which the spirit of Father lives. It can change its quality and become the external factor. And that is the way it changes the very nature of understanding, that we can mention it for numerous times. I'd like to say that Fuhat, or the spirit filling atoms or particles, thus makes them impossible to penetrate to each other. But each of them becomes the individual world. Why? Fuhat makes it possible for them not to penetrate each other because each of them is a single world. The key point is that the spirit and the essence of substance are the father and mother who spin the fabric, and this fabric is the universe. They fill the collected consciousness with a vortex motion, because this is how the essence is created and the fabric appears. What is this essence? That is the constructing impulse, impetus of the universe. Something must be formed that will control psychic energy. The heart controls it. In the heart are the powerful levers of creativity, and the phenomena of creativity depend on the sun or the spirit. The potential phenomena of creativity are the constructing impetus. The key point is that the constructing impetus is the action of the Father-Mother spinning the fabric. It begins to change the rhyme and properties of the boundless creativity of psychic energy. The rhymes start changing, and here is the quality of limitness of psychic energy. The action begins. The collected consciousness must resist the vortex That is, transform the pattern of eternity into an essence, into a building impulse that will manifest itself in all the diversity of future worlds and forms, and that is Svabhavat. Father-Mother, spin the fabric whose upper end is fastened to spirit, the light of one darkness, and the lower one to its shadow and matter. And this fabric is the universe spun out of the two substances made in one, which is Svabhavat. In the end, I'd like to pronounce the thought, the following one: the two opposites mentioned today for the whole concept of this period of Sloka 10, stanza 3. What was happening? That great combination took place. With this symbol of 10, with this motion, bringing foundation to the future. Why was it possible as the two opposite ends came together? Darkness and light changed places. Life and death changed places. Death was dissolved. That is the basis of the deepest synthesis of combination of the two opposites in Svabhavat. That is the construction impetus for the universe. So, as we apply this thought to ourselves, following the law, then there is no death, no end. We just become pure, and the quality of life, of the internal nature of the human being changes.
So we have been talking about it a lot, and I would like to say it once again. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching our video materials. We have many questions, and before we start, I would like to give the floor to the representatives of the research group, Sergei Kolganov from Moscow Aviation Institute in Moscow, Russia. Good afternoon. We're happy to see you in 2024, the new season. We would like to hear your commentaries on the presentations given by the speakers and your opinion on the shloka itself. We are listening to you. Good afternoon, dear participants of the Theosophical seminar. I would like to point out that we managed to go into details of the secret doctrine, and studying the secret doctrine makes us evolve. It is a great contribution to the personality of us, and our consciousness start to expand. They expand in space. We're talking about cosmology and cosmogony, the first moments of the appearance of our world, of our universe. And on the other hand, our consciousness expands in time to endlessness. Our mind as a subject, it has to fix each and every state of our consciousness. Thus, studying the secret doctrine, it motivates our evolution, it enhances our mind, and we become one with the light of manas that our level of mind depends on. Are we connected to the higher manas? If so, we are able to go into details when studying the secret doctrine. Studying the secret doctrine gives us this ability. Thank you. Thank you, Sergei Vitalyevich, for your analysis and for your valuable contribution that is essential, I believe. Without it, think there would be no point in this discussion. We have a question to Sergei Franzosov. The question is, if I understood it correctly, many scientists and poets, writers, they expressed similar ideas about the structure of the universe that you pointed out in your presentation. Please tell us, which is the value in learning the stances of Dhyan if it was expressed earlier? I'm going to answer this question. Sure, it was pointed out by other scientists, poets, and so on, but it was quite fragmentary. They did not outline the general picture. In Upanishad, in Goethe's works, there were similar ideas, but the value of Blavatsky's works is generalization. She managed to express the structure, the concept of the mystical knowledge. So this is a very unique work, The Secret Doctrine. However, of course, many discoveries in the spiritual world, they were made by famous people, by famous writers and scientists. Thank you, Sergei Alexeyevich, for your answer. You outlined the unique nature of the secret doctrine. We all point out that the secret doctrine gives a certain structure to all of the existing concepts that have been found in music and in literary works and in scientific academic works. However, the foundations, the structure are a valuable discovery made by Helena Blavatsky. So thank you for defending this concept. We have another question to Michelina Foster. The question is, you told us that both ends of the fabric, they are attached. But who attached them and what were they attached with? The question to Michelina Foster.
I believe that there is only one, and that one is all that we understand and much more. That one is the creation of mind, of love, of flow, of power, of beauty. It is just one, and we ourselves are the garments of that universal mind that flows outward. It attaches only to itself because there is no other. It attaches only to all because that is all there is. There is just the one. Thank you.
Большое спасибо.
Thank you. It was quite an unexpected answer that it is attached to itself. Because a person, its inner characteristics and outer characteristics, they are manifested quite clearly, and it is the essence of the creation of such an energy with such a force as a human person has. I have another question. I hope that we will be able to cover these questions. Sergei Vitalyevich Kolganov, question to you. What kind of material exists in the process of evolution and development? As for the question posed to Madame Michelina Foster, I would like to add something. There is the law of polarization that was fixed in the study of Hermetism. On the other hand, there is the law of dialectics. The first law is the law of unity and a fight between the opposing ends. In Chinese philosophy, there are also two polarities that are not attached from the beginning. They exist under the influence of these fundamental laws. I believe as for the material, we are trying to find the unity between anything that exists. In the studies of the living ethics, we read not about matter and not the opposition between matter and spirit. It tells us about the single substance, the one, the spirit matter. And I would like to answer to this question in the following way. So everything that exists, it exists in one. Thank you. Thank you, Sergei Alexeyevich. Do you have any comments? Yes. The ideas that we heard, I agree with them. I would like to add just something. The beginning of differentiation gave this opportunity to weave the international fabric, the fabric of the whole universe. I would like to add to the question about the material. So the question was asked about the material. This word was used. And I think that if this single ether space where the higher ether is based, the material would be an atom. An atom would be later separated, and Forhat would give the foundation for solidness and the birth of future worlds. We have another question to Sergei Frantsuzov. Sergei Alexeyevich, the question is, there are many concepts that you commented on associated with Brahma. How is Brahma manifested? How is Brahma manifested? Brahma manifests himself in many levels, in the level of universe, as the creator of the matter and spirit connected with each other, and in each and every particle of our world. In any little stone, in grass, it manifests himself in everything. It is quite close to pantheism in the European tradition. Thank you for your beautiful answer. I believe if Brahma spreads himself in some way, it can spread its warmth. It concentrates its energy, and the warmth spreads out. Electricity, magnetism, warmth, light, life, all these concepts, these are rays of Brahma. These are the arms of Brahma, giving people all the opportunities. I may say that Brahma manifests himself by creativity, by synthesis. Synthesis is his main function, the synthesis of the world, because it collects himself later. How does he collect? By synthesis. So this is his creativity. Thank you. Madam Michelina, I saw you have some comments in reaction to the question about Brahma. Maybe you have something to add.
I think Brahma, yes, we can think of him in our human elements as having an essence of what we would consider our basic humanity and our coming humanity, which would be greater. as we evolve toward the masters and as we evolve toward the higher beings. But Brahma is an essence of a force itself that manifests, and it manifests by coming into an idea that we would consider as being solid or objective, but it really isn't. It's subjective, and it manifests onto our objective planes.
Большое спасибо. У нас
Thank
очень
you. We have another interesting question. Sloka tells us about the secret that weaves forms, the hierarchy of light that weaves them. Isn't it the beginning of the activity of karma? Or is this the force that will later be manifested in the karmic activity? Is it the beginning of karmic activity? Or is this the force that will manifest this activity later? Vladimir Vasilyevich, would you please answer this question? So I would say that it is not about karma. I would say that karma is more dependent on our mind and rationality. So this is more about dharma. The birth of dharma exists here, but not karma. Karma is about our consciousness. I agree. I thought that there is no karma here yet. It is being created by the cause. The cause has to be created, and then after some time begins the effect, and with the effect begins the karma. So here in the sloka being discussed, what we see is the creation of the cause. So there is no karma yet. There is only the beginning of the force of causality. So thank you for your questions and answers. Our participants are very attentive and they ask profound questions. We have another interesting question, more of a philosophical one. Mr. Kolganov and Sergei Franzuzov, I would like you to answer this question because I believe your opinions would be interesting. The question is, can we assume that the action of father and mother weaving fabric, once again, is the action of weaving the fabric is the exhalation? Sergei Vitalyevich, well, I believe that our activity is like the process of construction. So there are many different colors that will have to be manifested into one. Answering this question, I believe that we can consider it as an exhalation. So it is like the process of resolving the Rubik's Cube puzzle. The question is, once again, the action of weaving of the fabric, is it the exhalation of the forces manifested? Yes, I believe that the forces are already manifested at this stage, or they begin to manifest themselves. This is the first thing that gives us an idea of how we can judge this process. Weaving the fabric is the expansion of the world, the beginning of the world, and the exhalation. Thank you. I came to the idea that the exhalation is the fourth stage, while we are in the third stage. The stanza in question prepares the state of matter for this exhalation to occur. So before the exhalation, there is inhalation. I believe this is more of the inhalation, so that in the beginning of the fourth stanza, the exhalation would be able to occur. If we take into consideration the planes of being, of existence. I also came to the idea that you have your reasons, because each and every period, like Satya and Kali Yuga, it exists but is not manifested inside. So this concept, it takes place. So the state mentioned in the stanza that we discussed today. So just imagine it's happening in the germ. In the germ. In the thought of the universe. There is nothing yet. The energy of the potentiality that will later give birth, only that exists at this point. If we imagine a person and how it is, a person is connected to the universe and to Brahma, we should mention the word impetus or motivation. So this impetus is given by Brahma to Brahma. Thank you for your comment. In late February, we will discuss the next Sloka. Another question, a philosophical question addressed to Michelina Foster.
This question is the following. What is the germ of the invisible shadow and how is it connected to Brahma? Madam Foster?
The shadow to me is matter itself. The light always dances, and the shadow has to keep up with it. So we are as the shadow to the essence of the being within us, the flow of God, shall we say. And that is the shadow. The shadow is always that which, in some places, actually, shadow is reversed to light, and light is from darkness. So mankind became the light that came from the darkness. And so, who is the shadow? Who is the light? And does the universe really care? I don't think so. The universe is itself. It is one. It is us. It is all that we know, we are, we will become. And the becoming that we know now has nothing to do with what we truly are and what we truly will all become. So we are the light, we are the shadow, we are one in one. Thank you.
Дорогая Мишелина, большое
Dear
спасибо.
Michelina, thank you so much. So we'd like to ask one more opinion about what is the germ of the single darkness and how it's connected to Brahma. Mr. Franzusov, I think it's the primary matter, the germ of the unknowable darkness. That's what Brahma takes active participation in, but that's unshaped of germ being in darkness, the primary matter mentioned in many philosophical systems, actually. Thank you so much for this specific answer. Thank you, Mr. Franzusov. Mr. Yary. Yes, that's what we've been considering in the stanza. we're talking about the seed of spirit. That is the factor which should solidify in our mind. That is the seed of spirit or the monad. What will give the impetus? The impetus is given by monad with the ray. That will become the exhalation and everything else, and the further actions and different formations. Thank you. Mr. Kolganov, could you please add up to what was the germ of the unknowable darkness and how it's connected to Brahma? As there is the word darkness here, we should connect to commentaries to the Secret Doctrine, and in the commentaries, Madame Blavatsky is saying that neither light nor darkness are spirit. They are just qualities of matter. And accordingly, here, connection is the opposite pole. Brahma is related to the spiritual point. Thank you. Spiritual pole. I thought that that is the germ of incomprehensible darkness, that is the unchangeable nature of Svabhavat itself, because Svabhavat exists, and that is the foundation of further construction. Further Brahman will be expressed in its whole multiplicity. I thought it is the foundation of the unchangeable nature of Svabhavat. In that period, it gives the impetus itself for the Brahma to be manifested. One more question. Oh, we're running out of time, actually. The further questions will answer in Quasi for the commentaries from Mr. Yary. If we're speaking of incomprehensible, then there is birth of the monady human being. It's in today, the white tiger. It's born in the gati of the higher beings. That is so because we are doing our best to contemplate in the category of knowledge filling, coming to understanding in spirit. That is the birth of spirit and shape, or manifestation of the divine Brahman. We're all Brahmas. Therefore, thank you. The last question, the brief one, and it's a pleasure for me to answer. What is the essence of indestructible Brahman? The answer is that the indestructible Brahman destroys this single being by its expansion and spreading. Here are the two opposite poles at the end of our workshop about the essence of indestructible Brahma who destroys. Today's foundation, Sloka 10, and by this moment, we've already mentioned that the changes of internal nature should come up for life and death, to change the state of the internal nature of the human being. Inside every person, there is a place for darkness, and here the miracle takes place. That is where the spirit arises from. That is where this life and love come from. That is why we have this desire for knowledge. If there is a desire, then the wave is so fast that you will not be able to hold on this wave. You will have to give this part of energy to others. That is the state where the human being does not have this desire for love anymore, does not demand, does not seek for it, just starts giving it out. Sloka 10, stanza 3, state of space ready to give love. Thank you so much for being with us, for bringing us to other concepts and thoughts. Thank you to Mr. Franzusov, Madam Michelina Fuster, Mr. Kolganov. Thank you so much for your questions, and thank you to the interpreters as well. Technical support, Alexander Kuleshov, Alexander Brezhnev, Maxim Yadgorov. Thank you for being able to weave one maze together. Every person will apply it to its life in the way possible for him or her. Thank you to everyone. We're not saying goodbye. An online class is awaiting us in February, and we're inviting you. Let's be in touch. We are trying to answer every question, every email, and happy birthday to each of you. Thank you. Goodbye. Keep in touch. Wish you light and love.